Moroccan border guards have arrested hundreds of migrants as they try to cross into the Spanish territory of Ceuta in northern Africa. They were intercepted as they climbed a hill just a few kilometers from the border. According to local media, 294 people were arrested, most of them from sub-Saharan Africa. Both Spain and Morocco had stepped up security after calls for a second mass crossing began circulating on social media. In late July, more than 70,000 people, mostly Moroccans, entered Ceuta by sea in a matter of hours. Scores died in the attempt. Spain said a vast majority of those who crossed returned later voluntarily. DW correspondent Jan-Philipp Scholz is following the story for us in Ceuta. I asked him how the atmosphere there compares to 2 weeks ago when tens of thousands crossed the border.
Compared to 2 weeks ago, the situation is completely different now. I was here 2 weeks ago and all I saw was chaos. Thousands of migrants on the streets, more and more people arriving. Today, the situation is different, at least around the border. This doesn't mean that the situation is back to normal, of course. Maybe you can also see it and hear it behind me. I spoke to the regional president yesterday and he says that there are still around 9,000 migrants in the city, maybe even more, and a lot of them are living on the streets. Some of them try to build makeshift shelters now here, for example, at the beach behind me. And I just heard from them that some are even trying to go on a hunger strike. So the situation in the city is still tense.
And Jan-Philipp, what about on the other side of the border in Morocco? What have you been hearing about what's happening there?
Well, yesterday it was also a quite tense situation. Local media outlets report 300 people were arrested trying to cross the border. The police deployed helicopters, they used tear gas. Today the situation on the other side of the border in Morocco seems to be calm, but of course this doesn't mean that there's any solution. There are still a lot of people hiding in the forests around the border, and it is probably just a matter of time, at least that's what a lot of observers say, until they will try to cross the border again.
Well, authorities were on high alert after those social media calls for another mass crossing attempt. Do we have any information about who's behind those calls?
What is behind this social media phenomenon is probably the most debated question in Spain at the moment. There are a lot of theories ranging from the Moroccan government to smuggling networks to foreign secret services. For me, there hasn't been enough evidence to really prove any of these theories yet. I think it also has a lot to do with a Spanish court ruling some weeks ago that basically said that when migrants arrive by sea, they cannot be immediately deported, but they have some rights of some legal procedures. That was basically in a very, let's say, wrong way, or at least a very shortened way, portrayed in social media in Morocco. And I think all of this took its own dynamic a little bit. That doesn't mean, of course, that there are no political interests behind it, but I think there is no evidence yet that there is this big political master plan behind this whole phenomenon at the moment.
And do you get a sense that Spain learned from what happened 2 weeks ago? Has anything substantial changed, or is this really more about optics?
Well, I think we have to distinguish between the situation at the border and the situation in the rest of the city. At the border, new water barriers have been installed, more security personnel is present. But of course, it's also obvious that the Spanish government is still very dependent on the active support on the Moroccan side. So This is the situation at the border that has been relatively calm in the past days. But within the city, it's still some degree of chaos. There are thousands of migrants living in the streets. On the streets, the authorities don't know what to do with them. And for the moment, nobody sees any solution if they can be brought to the mainland, to the Spanish Peninsula, or be deported to Morocco. At the moment, it's still a tense situation.
That was Jan-Philipp Scholz in Ceuta for us. Thank you so much.